Hello everybody. Today I'm bringing you a layout with some vintage papers and these two photos of some Mexican food. And I started cutting paper apart before I realized I'd forgotten to turn my camera on. So what I was doing there is I was just showing you that I matted the two photos on some yellow polka dot paper there. And that yellow polka dot paper is from October Afternoon Daily Flash, the Snapshots Focus paper. Now I just cut apart that cut the border strip off that green stripe paper. That's a really vintage piece of paper from Sassafras Serendipity, and the paper name is Frosted. So I'm trying to make an effort. I love my sassafras paper, but I really need to get it used up. It's getting old, and I want to make sure I use it before I don't care for it anymore. So right now I have a floral paper from October Afternoon Sidewalks. That's called Ring Around the Rosie. And those colors, that the bright, vivid pinky red and the yellow, just remind me of Mexican art for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but it does. So I'm going to use that paper there. The other thing I'm going to do is use this border strip. And that border is from the Sassafras Cardstock Stickers, the Flag Banners collection is the name of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the ends off of each side of this so that it fits on top over that photo. And so now that I have that done, I really like it. Now, one thing about this layout as well that I haven't told you yet is that I did do this for a spring crop challenge over at Paper Issues. It was to use 4 different manufacturers on one layout. So that crop is long. By the time you see this, will have long since been over. But that's when I actually made this. So far I have October Afternoon and Sassafras as two of my manufacturers. Because these papers are very vintagey and I do want to blend them together, I'm going to use my Tim Holtz Distress ink to ink the edges of my papers and of my border there. And that'll just help everything work together a little bit better. So the photo on the left there is of homemade tostadas. I am actually a quarter Mexican, so I grew up eating really good Mexican food, and I love tostadas. They can be a little bit fussy to make, so when my family gets together, that's something that we often take the time to make. And then the photo on the right is some homemade guacamole that I made. Not that I grew up eating that in particular, but we did make it. When I originally was going to do this layout, I was thinking about layering a number of banners underneath those photos, but when I look at them, I really don't like how they look. And I did think about layering that one banner on the top, but it just felt a little bit too big and like it was calling attention away from the top banner. So then I found this orange banner from that same Flag Banners cardstock stickers sheet, and this one I like much better, even though it gave me a little bit of a dickens of a time getting it on. It's a little bit smaller, and it just feels like it finishes off the top of the layout. It felt like the layout wasn't ending for some reason, like it needed some sort of frame to me. So I think that does a really nice job. That banner does a really nice job. Now, the only thing about that is now I want something for the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut a strip off of this October Afternoon Travel Girl paper, and that paper's name is Train Case. And I really like how that brings the orange in from the top to the bottom, and then the flourishes on there are pink, and so that brings in the flowers from the floral paper that's in the center. So it does a really nice job of kind of pulling everything together, and now it also gives my entire layout kind of a shelf to rest on. And I'm sorry that you can't see that all that well. I didn't realize that I had that so far down there. You'll see it a little bit better in just a second, and you can see it there. But see how there's like a shelf for everything. It doesn't feel like everything is floating so much as it did. Alright, so now I'm looking to do my embellishments. Originally, I was thinking I would use these cork bows. So I did take one out of the package. They're huge. They're from Dear Lizzie, and they're very, very big. So that doesn't last forever. Then I grabbed these burlap flowers from Recollections, and I have a whole pack of these that I haven't opened. I bought them to do my first nephew's wedding album, and I just didn't like how they looked in that album, and I also have not used any on my second nephew's wedding album yet, and I probably won't, so I really need to kind of make an effort to get these into my own regular scrapbooking. So I chose a couple of flowers for some embellishment clusters. I'm going to do, you know, the triangle, visual triangle there of the 3 clusters, and then that way my photograph is in the middle of all of those. Then I found these rubber charms from Oh Happy Life, from Amy Tangerine Oh Happy Life, and so I'm going to use that little phrase there that says Oh Happy Life, and then I have an orange heart, which I'm going to play around with a little bit about how I'm going to make these all work, and that orange heart's going to go up there in the top where it is right now. So I just decided that on the bottom there I would use one piece of that border sticker to kind of create the cluster down there. So I inked that up. And then now I'm going to put the hearts on it. I'm going to use my glue dots here. Sometimes it's hard when you have fabric to make the fabric stick to the glue dots, but this one does a nice job of it. And there you go. You can see I'm just kind of playing with how that flower and then the Oh Happy Life are going to sit. And I like how that's working. And then I'm going to put the flower up there with the rubber heart up on the top right. And that's looking pretty good to my eye. I'm thinking it might need a little bit of something yet, but I'm not quite ready for what that is. I'm playing a little bit here to see if I want to add another flower into that cluster, but I'm not going to. I do know that I want to call this layout Mexican Night, so I'll figure that out in just a second. And now I decide that the thing that I really need to add is I just want to add some enamel dots, and I'm going to add the Doodlebug sprinkles in the Bumblebee color, which is yellow. And I just like the way it gives another dimension into those clusters. So I'm not putting the same amount in each cluster. I think I've got 3 in the largest cluster. I'll put 2 up there in the top cluster, and then I'll have 2 in the bottom right cluster as well. Again, I'm sorry, that bottom of the layout is way too low for you. You'll see it if I don't pull it up for you at the end, but I think I do. You'll see it in the still shots. So then I found this alphabet by Sassafras, and I loved these letter stickers. I still have them in quite a few colors, and I hadn't used many from this particular font. The name of this font is Script, and it's a red color, but it's kind of a red orangey kind of color, so it blends really nicely with the colors of this layout. And I'm going to use my wax paper because I'm thinking I want to put it at the top, but I'm not sure exactly where I want to position that at the top. If I want it going exactly evenly between the two photos, or if I want it to be offset to one side. My first instinct is offset, and then I just kind of look at it and try to make it work even on both sides. I think about putting a flower there, but that just doesn't feel right. And I decide that definitely I want it offset to this side here. And I think that that just balances a little bit better because there are the clusters to the right there. And I think with the title not on the right as well, it was too much emphasis to the right side. It was looking a little bit heavy is basically what I think, in my opinion anyway. And I'm going to just tell you about something. I don't think I do this on camera if I remember correctly. It's been about a week since I did this layout, but I did in the bottom right cluster, I added some Jelly Bean Soup epoxy hearts from the Day to Day collection, which is their planner collection, and it's the epoxy stickers. And they're hearts, they're orange hearts that I'm going to add in there. Like I said, I don't think I do that on camera, so look for those in the still shots. There is a still shot of that cluster. All right, so all I need now is, I just need the dots to the eyes, which can always be a little tricky getting off, but with my handy little tweezers there, it's not as bad. Now I do want to put a little bit of journaling on this layout, and how handy that my background paper there is lined. So I'm not using a journaling card like you're used to seeing me do. I'm just going to use the back of this layout for the journaling, and I'll just do a, I think I did 3 lines here of just the little message about the meal, and it was kind of the beans for the tostadas were kind of a group effort in my family. We've all taken my grandmother's recipe / my mother's recipe and put our own little twists on it. And I have to say my brother added some bacon to them this time, and it was amazing. So anyway, if you're making homemade refried beans, add a little bit of bacon or chorizo. All right. Coming up is the still shot and a couple of detail shots. Hope you're all well, and I will be back again soon with another video. Bye!